Hello guys, welcome to my channel Maths World. So in this video we are going to solve exercise 1.3. Okay, the first question is prove that root 5 is irrational. Is same as proving root 2 is irrational and root 3 is irrational. Let's prove this. Root 5 is irrational. Let us assume that root 5 is rational. Root 5 is rational, which implies I can write root 5 in the form of a by b or p by q, where a and b are co-primes. Co-primes means we know what are co-primes. No factors for a and b, no common factors for a and b. For example, you take 7 and 9. Do they have any common factors? No, right? So these numbers are co-prime. So we are assuming that a and b are co-prime. Okay, then let us do squaring on both sides. Then it will become 5b square is equal to a square. Of course, I've taken b there. Then I got my a square as 5 into b square, which means 5 into something. That implies, first I will take this as my equation 1. That implies 5 divides a square, right? 5 divides a square. And if 5 divides a square, then 5 also divides a. By the theorem we have studied, 5 also divides a. Let this be equation 2. 5 divides a is equation 2. Why? We have studied that if a prime number p divides a square, then the prime number p also divides a. We have studied in the theorem. Okay, then if my 5 divides a, then I can take a as 5 into something, let's say c. Okay, I'll take a equal to 5c. Now I'll substitute a is equal to 5c in equation 1. Then 5b square is equal to, in the place of a, I'll take 5c square. 5b square is equal to 25c square. Then b square is equal to 5c square. Okay, that implies if b square is equal to 5 into something, then 5 divides b square. Okay, 5 divides b square. If 5 divides b square, we know that 5 also divides b. 5 also divides b. This is our third equation. From 2 and 3, what we got from 2 and 3? 5 divides a and 5 divides b. So from 2 and 3, 5 is common factor of a and b, which contradicts that a and b are co-prime, because we assume that a and b are co-prime, but we came to a conclusion that there is a common factor 5 for a and b, which is not so true, right? So where did we go wrong? Everything we did right? No. Basically our assumption root 5 is rational, that is wrong. Okay, that's why we got a common factor for 2 co-prime numbers. Okay, therefore our assumption is not true. Our assumption is not true. Our assumption is root 5 is irrational. Hence root 5 is irrational, which cannot be written in the form of a by b. Okay, since we have assumed root 5 is irrational and we have written in the form of a by b, we came to a conclusion that 2 co-prime numbers a and b have a common factor 5. So our assumption is wrong, which is root 5 is rational, therefore root 5 is irrational. Okay, next question. Prove that 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational. Here also I will assume 3 plus 2 root 5 is rational. I will assume then I can write it as 3 plus 2 root 2 2 root 5, here also 5, is equal to a by b. For any numbers a by b, I will take 3 to that side, then a by b minus 3, then a, I'll take LCM, a minus 3 by b. 2 root 5 is equal to root 5 is equal to a minus 3b by 2b. I have taken 2 also that side. This is in the form of p by q, right? P by, if any number is written in the form of p by q, then it is a rational number. So what we got here, root 5 is rational, which is not true, which is not true. Therefore, our assumption is wrong. Our assumption is wrong, and 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational. Okay, we have assumed our number is rational and we have written in the form of a by b, and we came to a conclusion that root 5 is rational, but we have already proved that root 5 is irrational, so our assumption is wrong. Our assumption is 3 plus 2 root 5 is rational. So therefore we proved that 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational. Next question, prove that the following are irrationals. First question we will do, I will assume 1 by root 2 is rational. Then I can write it as 1 by root 2 is equal to a by b. Cross multiply, b is equal to root 2a. That implies root 2 is equal to, I am taking a to the other side. Root 2 I can write it in the form of p by q, which is not correct. Root 2 is irrational. If I am assuming 1 by root 2 is rational, I am getting root 2 is also rational, which is so wrong. Therefore, assumption is wrong. Assumption is wrong. Hence, 1 by root 2 is irrational, right? Then we'll solve the second problem. Just give me a minute. I will just erase this thing. Just give me a minute. So for any problem, if they are asking to prove a number, given number is irrational, then we need to solve that. First we will assume that the contradiction, we'll assume exactly the reverse thing. We'll assume the given number is rational and we'll end up with something which is so wrong, then that's how we'll prove. Okay, second question, let us assume, I'm not writing clear steps, okay, we have done so many problems. I'm assuming 7 root 5 is irrational, then I can write it as a by b. Then root 5 is equal to a by 7b, which is in the form of p by q, which means root 5 is rational, which is wrong. Therefore 7 root 5 is irrational. Okay, steps you can write it, no? Then 6 plus root 2. 6 plus root 2 also I am assuming it is rational number, then I can write in the form of a by b. Then root 2 is equal to a by b minus 6, which is equal to a minus 6b by b, which is in the form of p by q, which means root 2 is rational. But we know that root 2 is rational, therefore our assumption is wrong. Therefore 6 plus root 2 is irrational. Okay, so yeah, that's it for today's video, and I'll see you in next class. Until then,